Well, hello there my friends. This series I've been doing is now the most popular series on my channel, within 2 episodes, which was something I wasn't expecting at first. In fact, at first I just wanted this series to be a 3-parter, where I review Star Road, Green Stars, and Super Mario 74. 3 generally loved hacks that made the SM64 hacking community what it is today. But then people wanted this series to continue, so now I've planned up to 14 episodes of hack reviewing. Anyways, welcome back to ROM Hack Reviews everyone. Today I will be reviewing SM74, the first major Super Mario 64 hack to ever exist. That I know of at least. I have mixed feelings on this one, which will be a nice closer to the original trilogy of reviews. A hack I love, a hack I hate, and now a hack that's in the middle. And yes, this series is going to continue, don't worry. Anyway, on with Super Mario 74. With this hack being the first major hack, there is quite a lot of interest in it, but the basic info isn't very bulked out, which is fine. It is basic info at the end of the day. This hack was made by Lugmalord, a hacker that isn't very well known about, considering that this is the only SM64 hack he's made, that I know of at least, but being the first to make a major hack of SM64 does make him very special. It is a shame he hasn't really made other hacks aside from Extreme Edition. This hack has a very parodical and funny tone to it, with text box that bash you for not having enough stars yet, NPCs just there for shits and giggles, and star names being worse than blast away the wall. Which makes me wonder, should I take this game seriously? Well, even if I'm not meant to, I'm going to do it anyway, because that's my job. The story is just there for jokes, but I'll go through it anyway, with the most serious tone I can, and most likely fail. Okay, so Bowser has once again kidnapped Princess Peach. Seriously, the hacking community has made Bowser out to be a fucking simp, if I must say. Like, before he just kidnapped Peach once a year, but now hacks exist, he's doing it every other day. Back on track, he has taken more than 20 stars this time however, implying this is another direct sequel. How many fucking sequels are there? Oh my god. Apparently, the extra 30 stars he took were hidden in the toilet that wasn't featured in SM64. There's also this weird prophecy shit that is featured later in the game, called the Cubuses, or Cubuses, I don't know, which apparently control the aspects of every video game in existence. These things aren't really used, they're just there for cool Easter eggs. Anyway, the story is nice, it's funny, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, which is anything I can ask for in a hack. Alright, time for gameplay and worlds. SM74's worlds are rather close to how the levels are in SM64, with a little more difficulty added to them, and a bit more variety in themes. Just as usual, I have picked 5 levels to give in-depth thoughts on, good and bad, so let's go through them. Something I really liked about SM64 was just levels that didn't rely on themes to be truly fun and unique, and that's what truly shines through into Skyward Slopes. A level that doesn't rely on a theme to be unique, similar to Whomp's Fortress, which is unique purely on how fun the stage is. Skyward Slopes has pretty cool stars, except Star 5, which can be achieved by accident if you stumble into it during the Red Coin mission, the mark of any lazy mission. All the others have something different that involves some kind of fun platforming to do, involving the time box star, the outer wall, and even this challenge that involves doing a precise long jump. All are challenging in their own right, but not challenging enough to ruin the fun. Something I really dislike about this hack is how the camera works. You have to switch it every time you enter an area, otherwise it will completely fuck up. Now, this would be okay on its own, as the game tells you to change the camera when you first enter every course, but in Toxic Switch of Danger it doesn't fucking do this, and you are forced to read a sign outside the entrance to learn of this fact, which makes this stage really annoying. But what also is annoying is the amount of fucking filler stars. Like, 1 star is literally behind the centerpiece of the stage. Another thing I dislike is how unforgiving this stage is about you running out of time on your metal cap. One thing I do like, however, is the aesthetic. Remember how much I hated on Fiery Factory from Green Stars? Well, this level is essentially that, but 20% cooler. Jokes aside, if Fiery Factory segregated its design into 4 distinct sections with an area in the middle, it would have been so much better. This stage has good design, but it suffers from being a bit too platforming oriented in areas. If you're going to make a level about exploring a spooky factory, it should be a bit more like Grunty Industries. I know people hate that level, but it really is fantastic how that level shifts and changes as you explore it. What was I talking about? Alright, Haunted Factory. It's good, I guess. Alright, time for the best level. That honour goes to Stalagmite Cave, a level that combines all of SM74's best qualities and combines it into one level. This level is the perfect combination of platforming and exploration. Exploration by this game's standards, at least. And also, it has a neat theme to keep it grounded. I really like how there's two sections, one lower section and one higher section, and how they intersect at points. It's great design, and I love how I'm able to gush about this kind of stuff. It's so refreshing compared to Green Stars. This is what Green Stars would have been if all its levels were like giant overgrown garden. How comes all these hacks' worst level is a fucking beach? Anyway, Sunny Beach is the game's worst level, and I think you all know why. The 100 coin star. Now usually if I hate a 100 coin star, I'll just brush it off, but guess what? This level has exactly 100 coins. That's worse than that thing in Star Road that everyone hates. Still not fucking saying it. Anyway, it's not that having 100 coins in a level is bad. It's two factors that make this whole mission unbearable. The blue coin switch, and the fact you have to push 6 bullies to a patch of lava randomly on the beach. And 2 of those bullies are on a boardwalk above water, meaning if the bullies get accidentally pushed in the water, fuck off, you have to restart. The design is fucking awful. But that's not the only thing I dislike about the stage. In fact, there's other factors that make it terrible as well, such as the obscure star names, which aren't very funny in retrospect. There's also the terrible secret spot mission. Like, how the fuck are you meant to find all the secret spots? This level is just awful. But that doesn't mean the rest of the game stages are awful. In fact, this game's level selection beats Star Road. Anyway, the gameplay in this game is quite great. You may have noticed that I didn't mention the sphere levels at all. Well, that's because I am planning a separate video on them, similar to my plan to make a video on Mad Musical Mess. Don't worry, I am gonna do that. In the last video, I said I probably wouldn't be covering a ROM hack with good difficulty anytime soon. Well, I guess that was a lie, because Super Mario 74's difficulty is actually well handled, considering what the creator was going for at least. I would like to take this moment to debunk the idea that I think a hard challenge is a bad thing. I got annoyed at difficult and unnecessary shit in Star Road and the Green Stars because it was unnecessary. In Star Road, some challenges are so bullshit I wonder why they stayed in the game when Skelux was updating it. Green Stars has a difficulty so inconsistent the first Bowser level is harder than some of the last levels you'll play. All these problems aren't really in SM74, except maybe the bullshit challenges thing, but they are all smacked at the end of the game rather than being sprinkled throughout, which is inconsistent and makes the player feel confused. When it comes to the difference between fun difficulty and infuriating difficulty, it all comes down to the player's first reaction to finishing the challenge. Let me explain the difference. When I finished some of the harder missions in Star Road, I reacted with, "Glad that's over. That could have been a little easier." When I finished a hard challenge in Green Stars, I shut off the fucking emulator and took a break because of how annoying it was. When I finished a harder challenge in Super Mario 74, excluding the sphere levels and Sunny Beach 100 coins of course, I was fucking happy that I was able to accomplish the challenge. In my opinion, good difficulty puts the player in a puzzle-solving mood. How will I finish this challenge? How will I overcome this furious feat? When the player finishes said task, the good difficulty will put that player in a good mood to prepare them for the harder challenges towards the end, such as the final boss, etc, etc. Star Road and Green Stars have hints of this, but fall flat because the type of difficulty the creator went for was splattering bullshit enemies, precise platforming in levels that don't have that kind of theme, precise platforming in sprinkles of levels rather than just going all out. In my opinion, precise platforming should only be used for maybe a one-off challenge in a course, or if you're trying to make a game around using Mario 64's control set for fun platforming challenges. Not when you're trying to make a game around realistic landscapes to explore and find stuff in. See, whenever Mario 64 tried to have it both ways, we got fucking terrible levels like TikTok Clock and Rainbow Ride. Levels so infuriating it still baffles me why ROM hackers try to recreate those feelings from these levels. They're bad. SM74 is a hack that actually has a consistent difficulty theme, platforming in controlled environments, trying to use Mario's moveset for fun challenges involving long jumps, wall kicks, and triple jump kicks. I think you guys just realised why I said to watch the series in order, because this is how I will do things in this show. I will take apart a hack, then compare it to previous hacks I reviewed in the show. You may think having this show be quote unquote serialized makes no sense, seeing as it's a review series about talking about ROM hacks of popular games of the late 90s, but it's how I write my shows. I like past things I've written to come back later on, as it helps me recollect how I judged a previous thing, and how I will judge the current thing I'm handling. Anyway, back to my point. Nintendo fucked up difficulty for Mario 64 around course 13. The following courses were terrible because they didn't get that SM64 was a game about platforming in controlled environments, and not on precise fucking nuggets of platforms that you will fall off if you tried to turn around on them. I'm tired of ROM hacks presenting me with stuff that Nintendo couldn't get right as if that's a fucking excuse, because it isn't. You may be confused as to why I'm commending SM74 for having platform challenges more than exploration if the original tried that and failed. Well sure, the original failed at that because Nintendo didn't understand what they were doing at the time, because it was the first of a kind 3D platformer. What do you fucking expect? SM74 succeeded because Lugmalon understood what he was going for. A game about platforming in controlled environments. Most of the time at least. I will leave this long ass segment off with one more sentence. Stop trying to recreate the failures that SM64 had when you don't understand why those failures are failures in the first place. Presentation time, I guess. Presentation isn't a strong point in SM74 because it's clearly what the creator wasn't going for. But it still happens to be better than Green Stars, a game that was released 2 years later. Collision in this game is exactly how you'd expect it to be. Since the models are polygonal based, there isn't really any room for any kind of fuck-ups, just a couple of inconsistent material usage at times. But that isn't a huge problem, except how the rooftops in the system of a town aren't unslippable when the point of the level is climbing across multiple rooftops of a normal town. That's literally the only problem I can think of at the top of my head at least. The models in this game look exactly how they would look in an SM64 sequel, which isn't saying much. I think the best model level in the game is probably Cliff of Wrath or Haunted Factory because both are very correctly themed and look how they should. I'm sure that without the textures on those levels, you would be able to tell that one was a stage with a high cliff and the other was one with a haunted factory. The worst models are probably the sphere levels because they're basically slapdash because the level needs slapdash level design to be difficult, which is quite bad. The textures here are the same as SM64's as well, but unlike Green Stars, which use textures in the most boring way possible, which created bland settings, SM74 used texture variety to keep locations looking interesting, all except Skyward Slopes and the Vanish Cap level. Each level has a kind of varied texture usage which keeps the environment enjoyable and cool. The music in this game is basically the same as SM64, but with some custom tracks here or there, such as the Sphere levels, the Vanish Cap level, and Champions Challenge. There is also this really boring rendition of Bob on Battlefield's theme that is played in over 4 levels for some reason. Why not just use the original song? The original song would have worked a lot better in these stages. Overall, the presentation is nothing special. Nothing bad, but nothing really astounding either. It's basically SM64 but with varied themes and levels, honestly boring visuals, and the music drowns on in points, making some levels more boring than they would be if they just used the original song. So in my previous 2 reviews I had a lot of footage left over, making unnecessary footage feel wasted when you realise that over 3 hours of footage got put into a 17-minute review. Well, seeing as this is the last review of my own footage, shoutouts to Benjams Likes Trains for helping me with future review footage, I am going to create a new segment for random nitpicks I couldn't throw into any other segment of the review. Let's go. Why is it that when you collect a star, it doesn't just boot you from the level, every level exit is in the middle of the hub? Would rather it just be outside the entrance, please. How comes hub world stars in the second hub area boot you from that hub area? Why are the Bowser levels less like levels and more like slung together fields of nothingness with no real sense of direction, leading to me usually finding the battle pipe in the most random ass position? Why is the wing cap required for the 3rd star in the first level when it's one of the last caps you get? Why is Molten Treasure Chest so hard to navigate and find stars in? Why do I need 110 stars to beat the game when 80 worked fine in Super Mario 64 DS? Another game with 150 stars. Why are the star doors in the final hub area this fucking ugly? Why can you walk behind the warps in these fake paintings? And finally, why is the hub music so fucking good? Oh my god. Just had to finish that off with something positive, because why the fuck not? Hope you didn't take these nitpicks too seriously, as they're just nitpicks and don't really affect the way I feel about the game as a whole. Alright, we are finally at the fucking conclusion. This review is longer than the other two, I know it, because this script is 9 pages long while the other two are 7 pages long. Anyway, I feel like this hack was a brilliant start to the legacy of SM64 hacking. But that also came with issues like Sunny Beach 100 coins and sphere levels. Overall, this hack is way better than Green Stars, but is it better than Star Road? Time for the final score of this hack. I give this hack a 7.5 out of 10. So my current ranking, this is another new thing in this review. In the lead is SM74 by a smidgen because its difficulty was way better than Star Road. Star Road is in the middle just by 3 sub points, and Green Stars is in dead last. I really hope you enjoyed this review, guys. People in my Discord server are starting to really like my reviews, and ROM hack discussions have become rather frequent there, as they like seeing how I will judge all the hacks I've planned in future episodes. So if you like that kind of thing, I suggest you join my Discord server in the description. The next hack I will be reviewing is Last Impact, and shouldn't be a long wait because I have already started playing it as I've been writing this review. Now my friends, if you enjoyed this, please give a like, a comment, or even a sub if you really want to see my future reviews. And if you didn't like it, please don't just drop the thumbs down and leave it at that. Tell me in the comments what I need to do to improve my reviews, as that is very helpful. If I see dislikes with no explanations for why, it just doesn't help. Because I'm just wondering what I did wrong, rather than knowing right away because there's a comment. Anyway, with that out of the way, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.